Welcome back into that Sean and Sean podcast. Big Ush, Cat Daddy. Cat Daddy, what's on your mind?
Ooh, another good week of football. Our teams came away with victories, so it's always better to record these after both of our teams have won. We're in a better mood when that happens.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Neither of us are ranting about the refs or nonsense.
I mean, could we? Yes.
Well, there's
Still
always
could.
something to say about the refs.
But here I am another week with my beard because my Packers won, and I got to keep my beard for another week.
All right, so jumping into this one, we're going to go with our award updates. Sean, who is your offensive player of the year candidates? Have they changed?
They have. My whole top three has changed from last week. Nobody from last week is currently in this one, so major spoiler. So hopefully you're not waiting to hear the words Cooper Kupp, Tom Brady, Kirk Cousins. Man, I couldn't have been more wrong about that one. So, but we all make mistakes, right? Even the best in business make mistakes, and I'm a professional amateur, so I'm allowed to make mistakes. Don't beat up on me too bad. But I can no longer deny Kyler Murray the number one spot. So he finally gets there. I think all
that shade at that man.
But it seems like he needed to hear it in order to step up his game to this next level, because I know he's listening to our episodes. He's like, you know what? That Cat Daddy, man, I really got to prove him wrong. And for that, you're welcome. You're welcome. Everything that I was talking about in the offseason about what Kyler Murray needed to do and how he needed to develop and grow, he has certainly shown in the first 4 weeks now. Hopefully this is a trend that continues for the rest of the season for him, because he's becoming one of the more exciting players to watch. If he stays healthy, yeah. He's taken that significant step forward, so he's my number one guy. He keeps playing like that, he may not fall out of my top three. Number two, welcome back, Patrick Mahomes. You're back in the top three. Throwing 24 touchdown passes to Tyreek Hill for 80,000 yards. That'll get you there. Yeah. That'll get you there. And my number three guy is someone who I also poo-pooed on earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. And apparently he listens to our episodes too, because he's like, this guy did. I gotta go out and prove him wrong. Gotta prove him wrong. Now, other people have proven me wrong, like Kirk Cousins has proven me wrong, but for all the wrong reasons, right? I'm talking him up, and he decides to prove me wrong. I don't appreciate that, but in this case, Derrick Henry, welcome to the top three. And not only are you just crushing on the ground, because that's all Tennessee has at this moment, but he's also He's on track to set career highs in all receiving categories. So Tennessee is definitely using him in a different way. And that still leaves me a little... Yeah. He took a beating this week, and I don't like the idea of having a running back with 400 touch seasons back-to-back under his belt. Now they're throwing the passing game in there.
Sean.
Yeah.
He already has 113 rushing attempts this year. Four games. 113 attempts. That is more attempts than the next guy, which is Joe Mixon, with 83.
Yeah, it's not a good trend for Derrick Henry, because we're not even a quarter way through the season, right? With this whole strange 17-game season, this would be our quarter mark. And if you extrapolate those 100, let's just round it to 100 carries, that means he would finish with 400 carries just during the regular season alone. Yeah. That's not including the receptions and the targets and any other hits that he's taken throughout the season. Man, he's getting hit a little bit more this year than I've seen before.
All right, so my offensive players of the year, I also have Kyler Murray as my number one guy. Cannot deny it. I'm sorry. Like, the kid is just balling out. I couldn't take Tom Brady off my list. I know he had one bad game, and it wasn't all his fault. I'm calling you out, Antonio Brown. Hit the jug machine. I know it's raining. I don't care. And then I'm gonna say, begrudgingly, because everybody knows how I feel about him, I'm gonna say Tyreek Hill. I mean, Philly. There's one guy you're supposed to stop. You didn't stop him. He monster. And yeah, I mean, unless you are making a consistent effort to stop this man, he's going to ruin you. And he ruined Philly. And he's ruined other teams. And he's still going to get his, even if you don't consistently try to stop him. But you leave him alone, he's going to ruin.
What's that saying? You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Pretty much. All right, your defensive player, Sean.
You're going to like my number one guy. You're going to like him. Yeah. Now, do I think he's going to stay number one for long? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be able to sustain this success, but he's certainly shown throughout the first 4 weeks of the year that he should be at the top of the conversation. That's going to be Dallas Cowboy cornerback Trayvon Diggs, who is now, with his 2 interceptions against Carolina, in addition to 2 pass breakups, he's now up to 5 interceptions on the season in only 4 games. Again, can he sustain this? No. Otherwise, he'd finish like 20-some interceptions during the season, and that's like some Madden-type stuff, right? Pick up the sticks, right? Let's go play some Madden. But right now, he deserves to be at number one spot. He's shown that even if he ends the season with just 5 interceptions, he's shown that he's progressed to a whole different level of play this year, and that's great for the Dallas defense. So there's one for you for Dallas.
No, just to say something funny to laugh at. So in that last game against Philly, his son came to the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the first games his son actually went to, and he was talking to his son, Aiden's daddy. If anybody watches the Hard Knocks, they know what I'm talking about. And then his son said, I want to see you catch the ball, and I want to see you get a touchdown. And he told his son, no problem. Apparently, he keeps his promises. So then, before the Carolina game, one of the beat reporters went up to him, and he was like, "I need you to get me an interception." He's like, "I'll get you 2." This was before the game.
He's calling a shot. That's what it is. He's doing. Yep, calling the shot.
So I mean, I just found that funny. Anyways, your next guy.
Next guy, number 2, not a stranger to my list here, is Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns. This weekend adds in another 5 tackles, 2 for a loss, records a half a sack. Yep, still productive week after week. I love the consistency. And then number 3 for my list is Danielle Hunter. Past few weeks, he's been pretty consistent about getting 7 pressures on the quarterback, adding stops to the run game.
Getting a bounce back year.
He is.
All right, so my ones. I also have Myles Garrett. Consistency keeps you on the list, and this guy has been very consistent. He didn't just have one monster game and then disappear. Calling out you, Chandler Jones. Get back on the list, son.
Right, he's been non-existent in week 1.
Number 2, Trayvon Diggs. Sorry, you get 5 interceptions in 4 games. If you have 8 interceptions in your first what is it? Something like 18 starts or something like that. This is an interesting stat. He was drafted last year. Since being drafted, Trayvon Diggs has 8 interceptions. Go round 1 to round 4. Guess how many interceptions the rest of his draft class has from round 1 to round 4?
It's going to be less than 8.
No. It's exactly 8. 4 rounds of players that were drafted around him, and all of them have 8. Now, no, there's some really good players in that class, too. And then number 3, I got Bobby Wagner. Constant pro, constant professional, and I mean, he just keeps coming up, leading the league in tackles. I mean, the dude flies around, he get quarterback hits, he's everywhere. All right, up next, offensive rookie of the year.
Number 1, Ja'Marr Chase.
Oh, who? Just wondering. Who?
Consistency matters. Ja'Marr Chase.
But where's what's his name?
You know, he's just trying to spot a lead to Ja'Marr Chase. He's gonna make his comeback. Don't worry.
All right. I'm just making sure. I thought he'd be getting all those garbage receptions.
Oh, I mean, he had over 100 yards this weekend, so we're gonna see if that garbage time continues.
All right. Who's next?
All right. Next up, same as last week, Najee Harris. You know, it wasn't the most impressive game, but it's consistency. He's doing the best he can behind that porous Pittsburgh offensive line.
That man keeps getting hit. Like, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, that's rough. It's rough.
Up next.
My third one, I will name a third offensive rookie this week.
Yes, please.
And I and I was tempted to go with an offensive lineman. Tempted. But then I'm thinking, man, if Quentin Nelson can't even win Rookie of the Year during his rookie year, like, am I really going to have an offensive lineman in my top 3? And I'm like, no, I can't do it. So I went with who I believe to be the most consistent rookie quarterback that we've seen so far, and that's going to be Michael McCorkle. I have Mac Jones number 3. Now, similar to Trayvon Diggs, will he be able to sustain this and stay in the top 3 moving forward? We're going to find out, but we did see some movement, progress, and growth from the other rookie quarterbacks. So he needs to step it up. Consistency gets you to the list, but you got to keep showing something. So Mac Jones is here for now. Who do you have?
From my standpoint,
yeah,
Mac was the 3rd best rookie QB this past week, and I watched all the rookies before we went on. He's the 3rd best rookie out of all of them this week, in my opinion. All right, moving on. My offensive rookies so far, Ja'Marr Chase. I mean, the dude just makes plays. You know, wide receiver 1. That's right, wide receiver 1. Remember that. And Najee Harris, he's doing all he can. He's doing all he can for that team. And then Rashawn Slater. This dude is a constant figure. I don't care. He's an offensive lineman. I put the best players on my list no matter what. Regardless if the NFL is going to recognize them for hardware, the NFL needs to get a clue when it comes to these awards.
That's true.
Next up, defensive rookie of the year.
All right, my first 2 are going to be the same as last week. Number 1 spot belongs to Micah Parsons. It's going to take a lot to move him out of that number 1 spot. I feel pretty similar about the number 2 guy, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He's just been performing solid, consistent in that Cleveland defense, playing and doing whatever they need him to do. Number 3 is a new one this week. So I have Odafe away from Baltimore. Continues to make his presence known, whether he's starting, coming off the bench, whatever that looks like, wherever Baltimore needs him to be. He's performing, he's coming through, and I love it.
All right, so oddly enough, my list is basically the exact same thing as yours. Micah Parsons, he's been number 1 since day 1, which is crazy. And then there's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah coming on strong. And then there's Odafe Oweh. I mean, this linebacker / pass rusher group, it's really interesting. It's actually been really good. And like, everybody's worried about the pass rushers, but then you've got these hybrid players like JOK or Micah Parsons or Odafe. And then there's even Aziz who's just inching up. And all these guys are playing really well. Even what's his name, Jalen Phillips, started making some hay. So I mean, people were worried about certain things. I mean, it's amazing what the draft will give you. All right, moving on. Sean, who are your top 3 teams at this given moment?
At this moment, after this weekend's games, my top 3, number 1 spot belongs to the Arizona Cardinals. Welcome to the party, guys. You knocked off my previous number 1 team from last week, and that was impressive. The way that Arizona had played this past weekend.
Knocked them off. They beat them down in their own house.
They did. So walking into Los Angeles SoFi Stadium, coming away with the dub. That gets Arizona to my top spot. Number 2 team, Buffalo Bills. What we've seen the past 3 weeks, don't think about week 1, right? Get week 1 out of your mind. But what we've seen the last 3 weeks has been the Buffalo Bills that we saw last year make the run to the playoffs. It's the Buffalo Bills that people talk about Josh Allen as an MVP candidate. That's the Buffalo Bills that we're seeing now, and they're taking care of business on both sides of the ball. My number 3 team is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I haven't dropped them out of the top 3 just yet. They came away with a pretty tough victory against New England. Now, I thought New England had given them a little bit more trouble than I originally thought they were going to, but it's a Bill Belichick coach team, very familiar with Tom Brady, and Tampa Bay was still missing a lot of pieces on defense to the point where they were forced to start Richard Sherman several days after signing him.
Right.
So they put him out there. They still came away with the win. This team can only get more dangerous once they get fully healthy, and Antonio Brown decides to catch the ball even when it's raining.
True. All right, so my list has completely been blown out. Before I address my list, I'm going to address your list. I thought about Buffalo, but I cannot forget week 1. Now, if Buffalo shows up this week, they could easily take my number 1 spot. Moving on to my list, I do have the Cardinals at number 1. They're undefeated. They've played good teams. You get the number 1 spot. Kyler's playing at MVP level. My number 2 is the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are a darn good team and playing away games pretty much every week. They have no home, and they're still busting teams up. That's hard to do. And yeah, call me a homer if you want. I'm putting the Dallas Cowboys in there. The Cowboys have played teams. They've blown out teams. This Carolina team, they took to the woodshed. It was not as close as that score indicates. And yes, Tampa drops out because I think Tampa is vulnerable. They should have 2 more losses on their record. So I'm worried about Tampa. We'll see what happens when Tampa is healthy and see what happens later in the year. But some of these other teams that they played that, close weren't completely healthy. So we'll see. Let's go with your bottom 3.
Bottom 3, starting off my list, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ain't that a given?
You fell to 0. Well, not necessarily. You fall to 0-4. You've looked somewhat competitive the past couple of weeks, to the point where you could have and maybe should have gotten a victory. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence play his best game to date as a professional, and it's all overshadowed by Urban Meyer. ... Inserts whatever you find on Twitter here, and it's all overshadowed, and it's becoming a huge circus, a huge distraction, and you're losing
bad to worse.
You're losing the credibility of your team. Urban Meyer is. You're losing trust and respect from the front office. Urban Meyer has created a disaster in Jacksonville.
All right, let's move on from Urban Meyer. We talked a lot about him the last pod.
Yeah.
No need to rehash all that Urban Meyer nonsense. It's not fun. That's the problem. I apologize, Jacksonville fans. You guys are not having fun right now. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to harp. Let's move on to your number 2.
Speaking of not having fun, my number 2 team is going to be the Houston Texans. And it's a good thing the Houston Texans had spent their first pick in the draft this past draft on a quarterback. Oh, wait, that was Davis Mills. And it's a huge mess. Exactly. It's rough with Davis Mills back there. It really is.
Well,
you either need Tyrod back or you just need to wave the white flag on the season.
I don't think Tyrod makes a difference. I don't think Deshaun Watson makes a difference in this. They had Deshaun Watson last year, and they were 6-10, weren't they?
It was something for. They should have won more. Yeah, they wasted Deshaun Watson.
All right, moving on. No, Houston, we know what they are. That you are what we thought you were.
They'd be more competitive with Tyrod, but I digress.
I think I kind of let the cat out of the bag for you.
Yeah, you did. Pittsburgh Steelers. Speaking of hot messes, the defense looks pretty good. The offense, not.
They got talent.
Quite. I mean, there's talent, but you also need talent for the people who protect the quarterback. And you also need talent at the quarterback position. Not saying Ben Roethlisberger is not talented, but
ask Denver about that. It's easier to find a franchise quarterback than a franchise cornerback. I'm just saying.
It's the quarterback is such a hard position, and at this rate, Pittsburgh is going to find themselves at the top of the draft, being able to select somebody that they want to be their franchise quarterback. But if they do win some ball games, they may miss out on all those quarterbacks, and they may be forced to look into trading or free agent options. But 2 things are for certain. 1, you kept Atlanta out of my bottom 3 for another week.
Yeah.
So, good job. And 2, this is going to be Mike Tomlin's first losing season as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We'll see. It's a long season. And they got
it is
coming up.
Exactly. It's a long season.
They got Denver coming up, so you know. All right. Next up, my bottom 3, Jacksonville. Like I said, it's a given. Bad culture, bad roster. Sorry, Trevor Lawrence. Then my next one, the Falcons. You guys just find ways to lose, don't you? Don't matter who the coach is. Don't matter who's there. You guys keep finding ways to lose. And Matt Ryan just does not. Like, sometimes he looks like who he's supposed to be, and sometimes I don't know what he's doing. And then I'm going to say the Philadelphia Eagles. You get blown out 2 weeks in a row. I'm sorry. Like, you can get all the garbage stats you want, and Jalen Hurts can look great when the game's out of hand. Do something when you're in the position to win. Everybody kept telling me this last year when Dak Prescott was leading comebacks. Difference is Dak Prescott was putting the Cowboys in the position to win the game. Jalen Hurts is just piling up stats. All right. We're moving on. We're going to go to rapid fire with some of these games. So we're going to start with the Thursday night game. Rams traveling to Seahawks. Or traveling to Seattle to face the Seahawks. We got a 2.5 spread. Who you got in this one? We don't really guess the spread. I just thought I'd throw that out there to show how close it was.
I'm going to go with the Rams for this one. I think they're going to bounce back from their first loss. I know it's in Seattle, and if this were a couple of years ago, I'd probably give Seattle the edge for that home field advantage, but I think that's changed in the past couple of seasons, so I'm going with the Rams.
I think in practice, Sean McVay's going to have these guys humming. They were not on the same page a lot of the times in that Arizona game. They're going to have a bounce back game. Rams. All right. Now, the game nobody cares about, so they put it at a time that no one's going to be awake. The Jets and Falcons are traveling all the way to London to have a football game. And not the type of football game that London's used to. It's one of our football games. Who you got?
Do I have to pick?
You have to pick.
All right, fine. If I have to pick, I am going to go with Atlanta for the experience and just the more veteran roster going overseas to play.
I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go nuts.
You going nuts?
I'm gonna pick the Jets.
Oh, okay.
I think Atlanta's defense is poo chew.
Yeah, they're allowing 30 points a game.
I think the Jets defense shows a little bit, and Matt Ryan is a tale of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And then outside of Calvin Ridley, who are Atlanta's weapons?
Should be Kyle Pitts. Should be Russell Gage, but I think Russell Gage is injured. You have Cordero Patterson. You have maybe Mike Davis.
I'm just saying, you say Kyle Pitts again, which we have noticed. Tight ends take a little while to develop. It's just what happens. Anyway, so I'm taking the Jets. The line is only 3, though. That's crazy. In favor of Atlanta.
What? Yeah. There's no home field here. It's in London. No team. It's Atlanta's home game. But...
By the way, that first game, the line is 2.5 in favor of the Rams while in Seattle. I think that's surprising. All right, next up, we got your game. The Pack is traveling to Cincinnati. Face those Bengals. What you got?
I don't like the injuries. But at the same time, Cincinnati has experienced an injury of their own by losing Joe Mixon. They're calling Joe Mixon day by day, but I would be really surprised if he suited up this week.
Yeah.
So he is week by week, in my opinion, because I'm definitely not a medical professional, not even on Facebook to my medical professional, but I think he's week to week, a low ankle sprain, big for a running back, but you got Cincinnati, who's just going to chuck the ball over the field with Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase and whichever other wide receiver wants to be healthy for that game. You have their tight end who showed up last week. And Green Bay's defense has been losing players to injuries. Is Darius Smith. You're thinking Jair Alexander just went down, so there's definitely not a lot to like there, but I still have to go with Green Bay.
All right. I'm also going with Green Bay. I will say I think Joe Burrow will do well, and he might even make this game pretty close, but I'm taking Green Bay in this one. Next up, we have the Lions visiting the Vikings. What you think?
You know, I should learn my lesson about trusting Kirk Cousins and putting a lot of faith in him. But then I realized they're going against Detroit this week. And Detroit just finds ways to lose the game. So I can't feel good about Detroit as much as I don't feel good about Minnesota. So I think this week, this is going to be the game I put my beard in the line for. If Minnesota wins, I keep it. If Detroit somehow wins, which very possible because they've been playing hard, then I will be shaving this. So this is the game.
You go ahead and trust Detroit and trust Minnesota there.
I feel
now that being
dirty
said,
doing it though.
I think Dalvin Cook is going to have a big game, take some pressure off of Kirk Cousins, and I'm taking Minnesota in this one. Not the line that they got it at. They got it at 7.5. No effing way am I taking that.
I wouldn't put my beard in the line for that line. Nope.
Next up, we got the game that nobody wants to pick.
Another one.
Denver Broncos going to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. I don't want to touch this game.
Man, it's tough because if we knew right now that Teddy Bridgewater was clear and he would play, Denver.
Take Denver.
Denver would be the easy answer. But at this moment, there's the possibility possibility that he could clear concussion protocol by the end of the week, but there's also the possibility that he's not going to play, and
So
we're
let's
forced
cop
to
out.
make our picks today.
Let's cop out. Teddy plays, we take Denver. If Teddy doesn't play, we take Pittsburgh. How about that?
With my Facebook medical degree, I'm going to think that Teddy Bridgewater does not play. And
I'm using my cop out.
Using your cop out?
Yes. If Teddy plays, I'm taking Denver. If Teddy doesn't play, I'm taking Pittsburgh.
I suppose I should get on board with that cop out because it's very true. So if you're listening to this, just make sure you're paying attention to which quarterback is going to be starting the game for Denver, because that makes the big difference. If Drew Lock's out there slinging the ball 40 times, Denver's done.
It's not happening.
Mm-mm.
All right, next up, we got Miami going to Tampa, right down the street. Well, it's a little further. The facing Bucks, and this is the Tom Brady get right game. I don't, especially if Byron Jones is out. I'm just going to call this right now. The Bucks is going to win this, and they're probably going to win it by a lot.
They're going to cover the spread.
Their spread is 10. Yeah, I think they might.
I could see Miami making this closer just because of the weak Tampa Bay secondary, and Miami going to have the need to throw the ball. So I could see them making it closer, but Tampa Bay is going to win.
All right, we have the Saints going to Washington, face that football team. It's a 1.5 point spread. This is the Saints' week to win. I think Sean Payton's going to be mad because they gave up whatever they gave up against the Giants, and I think they come out and they beat this football team.
Oh, I don't feel good about picking either of these teams here.
I know.
But I'm going to go Washington.
Ooh.
Yep, I think we're going to see Jameis Winston, who's going to try and throw the ball 30-plus times a game, get himself in a little bit of trouble, not be the game manager that Sean Payton wants or needs him to be. And I'm hoping that this is the weekend that the Washington defense decides to wake up, because I need some points from my guy Sweats, right? Fantasy purposes.
Next up, we have the Eagles traveling to Carolina to face the Panthers. It is a 3.5 spread. What do you think?
I don't like this game either. I don't. But what do I trust more? Do I trust a Sam Darnold-led offense without Christian McCaffrey? Or do I trust Philadelphia getting lucky? I'm going Philadelphia.
I'm going Carolina. I trust the Carolina defense more than what you're saying there. And Sam Darnold's legs can go, and DJ Moore is going to probably do pretty well here. I just think this is going to be more of a get-right game, and Philly just seems out of sorts. I do think it's going to be a closer game than what people would think, though.
Yeah.
Next up, so we have the Tennessee Titans possibly going to Jacksonville with no wide receivers. I don't like this game at all. I don't
like picks this week.
I don't like this game one bit.
Schedule makers need to be fired. This is a horrible job.
Who you got? You tell me, who do you got here? You can't pick Jacksonville. I just can't do it.
I would be tempted.
No trust.
I would be tempted to pick Jacksonville
if it wasn't for all the nonsense.
The circus not started. Yeah, because I had momentum. But I think Derrick Henry's going to get like 47 carries and run for 3,000 yards.
All right, moving on.
You're picking Tennessee, I guess?
Yes. Yeah. I can't pick Jacksonville. I just can't do it. Moving on. We have the Patriots going to Houston to face the Texans. Houston's, no. They're not going to get the spread. I don't know where they got this spread from. Good Lord.
What's the spread?
Pound Houston on your betting slots for real.
What's it at? Did you say 9? Wow.
9.
I'm picking New England. It's a battle of the rookie quarterbacks between Mac Jones and Davis Mills. Mac Jones is going to win, but I don't think by 9. Maybe like 5 or 6.
Right. 9?
Get out of here.
Moving on. 9. We have the Bears traveling to Las Vegas. Maybe, hit up the casinos. No, they're going to play the Raiders in their fancy new stadium. Who you got?
Well, there will be gambling this weekend because Matt Nagy's going to be gambling for his future, and I think that Chicago is going to walk away with a victory in Las Vegas.
I'm gonna have my cop out again. If Justin Fields starts this game.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did say that Andy Dalton's going to be the starter when he's healthy.
Justin Fields starts this game, the Bears will win. If Andy Dalton starts this game, the Bears will lose. That's my bet.
I can only do one cop out. I'm going with the Bears regardless. Don't feel very good about it.
All right, next one. Big game of the week. We have the Browns going to Los Angeles to play the Chargers in a Browns home game. Who you got? It's a 1.5 point spread.
In favor of
the LA
Chargers.
Yes.
I gotta roll with the Lightning. You have to go with the Chargers.
I'm going with the better quarterback, and it's the Chargers.
It's definitely going to come down to a battle of which quarterback performs better against the defenses, and what we've seen with Cleveland really makes this a hard one to go with.
Yeah.
But I think that Herbert's going to do better against Cleveland than Baker's going to do against the Chargers defense. So, Chargers.
Next up, we have San Francisco starting Trey Lance. I don't care what Kyle Shanahan says. They're starting Trey Lance. Going to the desert to face the Cardinals. Who are you picking?
Oh, sweet. Finally, an easy one. Cardinals. Kyler Murray is going to continue this hot streak because if he doesn't and they lose, I'm going to start poo-pooing on him, and then he's going to have to come back and prove me wrong again.
And a spread that makes sense. 5.5 for this one. That makes so much sense to me.
That's realistic. Not 9 for New England. Yeah.
Even 1.5 for San Diego. I mean, LA. Like, what is that? All right, so we have the Buffalo Bills going to Kansas City to face the Chiefs. 2.5 point spread for Kansas City. Who you got? This is Sunday Night Football.
This should be one of the games of the week here. I think this is going to be a better game than the Chargers-Browns game
of the week.
Because
I did miss a game, and I'll go back. I forgot. So
you didn't forget. I know you didn't forget about that. You just skipped over that one conveniently.
I did. But go ahead. Who you taking here?
We're getting a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. I think we're going to have the same outcome, though. I have Kansas City winning. I think Buffalo is going to put up more points than they did during the championship game. But I think we're going to have the same outcome. I think it's going to be Kansas City.
Different defense. I think I'm taking Buffalo. Oh, we're going very contrary this week.
Ooh. Maybe I should put my beard in line for this game instead of Minnesota.
Next one. This is the one you should have. But next one. We're backtracking. I think we'll be on the same page for this one. Another one of those afternoon ones that I conveniently forgot, I guess. You have the Giants traveling to Irving, Texas to play the Dallas Cowboys. Who are you taking, Sean? Let me look at that spread.
What's that spread?
7 points. That's a lot. I think Dallas can cover that though, but it's a lot. But who you got?
Yeah, it's amazing. New York's favored to win that game by 7. That's strange. No, it's going to be Dallas. The way they're rolling both offense and defensive side of the ball, unless they hit some serious hurdles or speed bumps along the way, I don't see New York getting healthy enough to win this game, at least not right now.
I could see some lullaby in this game. I mean, people could say, oh, well, they just released Jalen Smith and maybe the team's sad about that. I think that these coaches will get people up and going. Dan Quinn has a lot of that energy to keep these guys going. So, and I think the linebacker group will actually be better because Kenny O'Neill's supposed to be coming back. They're going to be elevating Jabril Cox. I think Dallas should win this game. Stranger things have happened. Daniel Jones is actually playing very good football, but I don't think the Giants are a good enough team to beat the Cowboys, especially at home this week. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Baltimore. Battle of Baltimore. Because the Colts used to be in Baltimore. Until they moved out of there in the middle of the night without telling nobody. Anyways, the spread on this one, 7 in favor of Baltimore. Who you got?
Ravens. I think they're going to extend that streak of consecutive games of 100 yards rushing to 44, getting themselves a record without using the last 4 seconds of the game to call a running play. I just don't have a lot of faith in Indianapolis right now. That wide receiver core is not inspiring. Carson Wentz, Mr. Glass back there, is almost under fire every snap. I don't feel good about Indianapolis. It's certainly not a team. It's not as good as a team was last year.
Unless Mo Valley Cox, just takes over. I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, he does that from time to time, for fantasy purposes. You pick him up again on your team, and they're like, well, let me just do nothing for a few minutes, too.
One thing I'd like to say, the over-under for the Bills-Chiefs game is 56.5.
Ooh.
I think they smashed that.
They had better. I'm changing my beard pick to Kansas City Buffalo because that's clearly going to be a much better game. So if Kansas City wins, this thing stays. If Buffalo wins, I got shave.
All right, we'll see how that goes. Yeah. I'm taking Buffalo on the side of your mom.
You mean my mom's side with you? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I already know what side she's on. Oh, just one more notable one. The over-under for the Broncos Steelers, 39.5.
Oh.
39.5. All right. That's all she wrote for this one. Sean, any words of wisdom for people?
No, not this time. Not this time.
Not this time. All right. I'm just going to say this again. I think I said this kind of before, more so about someone's teams. I'm going to say this again here. Never gamble from a place of emotion. It is a dangerous thing to do.